Bill, I have to say that although we really didn't intend it that way, we had a very, very exciting program about the Jones Act. I mean, my thought is that people don't know much about it, and they don't know the intricacies or the political realities of it. But they need to know, and this our attempt was to educate them. But what we found was that there was passion there, and,
Extreme polarity.
yes.
I mean, we always have panels with different points of view, and that's something that we like to do. But this one was, the polarity was palpable. You could feel it in the air,
Yeah.
and it was quite interesting. I had a lot of people that came up to me. Laughing and patting me on the back. This was the best panel ever.
Yeah, really. I had the same experience. Yeah. So I mean, we can learn from that. We can learn that even though people don't know about a particularly sophisticated issue, if you have passion and polarity, they want to know more about it. They want to figure out which side to take. They want to hear what all the fuss is about, and that certainly played out last week.
But I think one of the big things that came out of this really affects our energy future.
Yes.
And that's the topic of our next program in September.
Yes.
A clear problem with the Jones Act is the prospect of being able to bring in liquid natural gas from Alaska or other sources in the United States so that we stop spending $9 billion a year on foreign oil. This is a very viable solution to our energy problem, and the fact that we can't build a LNG tanker in the United States to do this just really cuts us off. It exacerbates the fact that we're an island apart from the rest of the United States. But it really is a serious problem when it comes to energy, and I think that's why in our next meeting we're going to talk about what you call the energy also-rans.
Yeah. Well, there are a lot of very promising renewable sources that are out there that we've talked about, that everybody's talked about for 4 years, going on 5, since the Energy Initiative was.
Since the 80s with
well,
OTEC.
yeah, longer. And which are still not doing anything, not commercially viable, not really in the marketplace. One of them, of course, is LNG, which is not yet in the marketplace, which could be a valuable addition to the portfolio. Another of them is OTEC, which is very promising. And in fact, there are discussions going on right now about OTEC, becoming a source for Hawaiian Electric. There's wave energy. Cynthia Thielen in the state legislature has been actively promoting wave energy for a long time, but there isn't a single wave energy facility here in Hawaii. And let's see, what else was there? Oh, there's algae, which we have a lot of research going on, a lot of discussion over it, but we don't have any algae actually creating energy or creating biofuel for energy right now. And there are others. Just to say that we have sort of settled down on wind and solar. We have geothermal working; it's actually working.
But not as extensive as it could be.
No, it could be 100 megawatts easy, but for various, what do you want to call it, political or cultural or political correctness reasons, it's not. So I think we need to go further than just wind and solar and the customary arrangements.
Well, I think this also reflects, a national policy attitude that says as long as we can get our hands on a cheap energy, we're not going to invest the R&D dollars that are necessary to perfect these alternatives.
You put your finger right on it, Bill. That's the problem. And Billy Kenoi, is an expression of this problem, this dilemma. He says, I'm not going to support renewable energy unless it's cheap or cheaper. And you say, wait a minute, how can you have renewable energy unless you build an infrastructure for renewable energy? Who's going to pay for that? If you don't want the ratepayer to pay for the brand new infrastructure to create the renewable energy, who then will? If you say it has to be cheaper, maybe you're also saying that you don't want it, or you're placing a barrier that will stop it. And I think this is a discussion we've got to have. But suffice to say, the more pieces in your portfolio, the more options you have. And some of these also-rans may be the front runners in the future. And energy policy is really the most important thing on the plate right now. And we have got to make our priority. We have got to discuss it. We've got to settle down on it. We've got to take action on whatever priorities we find are appropriate. And part of that, at least for natural gas, is the Jones Act. So all these things, they're all connected, Bill. All these policies and our programs, to me, are useful because they recognize the common denominators and the connections that are important to our society in Hawaii.
That's why we do what we do.
Yeah, Bill.
All
Thanks.
right.